To go in inventory, we go to the main menu again, which is always down here under the Channergy Explorer button, by the way, and click on inventory. Notice when I move over it, I have other options as well. But for now, we're just going to click the inventory button. That's the default function, is to open that up. So that'll take us to our first product that we have in inventory. Here, we'll discuss what these fields mean, then we'll talk about how we list them on the various channels. So you have a product number. This can be anything you like, your own product number, UPC code, doesn't matter. I think it's about 150 characters. We have a name field that's easier to read. I believe that's around 250. You can have either one or both of these show up on invoices, packing lists, emails, etc. There's another short description here, also around 250, and then an unlimited length long description. You can put whatever details you want in here. Don't recommend HTML, just plain text is best. We'll talk about listings in a bit and additional fields. The order message is useful to operators that are keying orders because it shows up when you select an individual item. If you remember on the order screen down below, we have that little tab called Item Detail. They'll see a reminder there to do upsells, cross-sells, etc. Maybe it needs batteries, that kind of thing. If you don't do telephone orders and it's, for you it's just an extra field you can use for whatever you like. You can have a supplier set up on a product, or you can have multiple suppliers. For each supplier, you can keep track of their product number, the price you pay for it, how you buy it, case, each, etc. If there's any minimum quantities you need to meet, any discounts, notes, etc. A breakdown would be how you would break down a case, for example, maybe that's 12. You can have as many suppliers in here as you like. You can also have the same supplier in here multiple times. Maybe they have different product numbers or different units of measure or prices, etc. Jumping back here, we also have a product type. And we can assign this. It can be one level deep like I have here, or it can be multiple levels. This is a cell phone database. This particular item is an accessory. And that's useful on searches when I'm looking, if you recall, at the order level. If I select accessories from the pull down, it just shows me items that match that. In other words, that are tagged with this. But it's also useful for reports. Maybe you want to see how many accessories you sold on Amazon for a given month, for example. We also talked earlier about subproducts. Those will show up here with a master code. So if this were a t-shirt, the master code would be t-shirt, and then the options would be things like short sleeve, small, medium, V-neck, crew neck, etc. Again, you can look at that subproducts utility in the settings if you want. And if you remember, it's the subproducts tab on the order search. So you just do pull downs. What this does is create pull downs, but each product exists as a unique product with its own UPC code, its own quantities and prices, etc. So you can still manage them as individual products, but sell them as just pull down products to make it easier for your consumers. This is where that unlimited length field is. So again, you could pre-build this if you want, and then edit it at order entry, or if you left it blank, they could type it at order entry, and it shows up under the item on the invoice, on the packing list, can go in an email, etc. This is where you would create those multiple fields we saw. So I have one preset here. You can create up to 20. You can make your own fields, like I typed one called note with a 20 character length. So very powerful for creating discrete fields. For name and address, we can pull right from fields that we have in the database. For a note or something like that, the operator would key it. And it can be also a checkbox. So it could be text like a note is, or a checkbox if you need to flip a yes or no flag on. There are 4 price levels per product. So if you remember, John's a wholesale customer, he'd automatically get charged $2 for this product. Each one of these can have a quantity discount as well. So, from 5 to 10 on this one gets a different price than the $3.99, maybe $3.50. Etc. And quantity discounts can be shared across products that have the same mix and match code. So any other product that has the same code, if they bought 2 of these and 3 of something else, would still get the 5-point break. If you remember the add source keys, the by source key allows you to assign add source keys to specific products. That means instead of applying a discount across the entire order, it would just apply discounts to the products that are added to the order that are on sale or that are able to receive that discount. The price floor would be the lowest price that you would allow your operators to sell an item at if they're allowed to discount at all. So they can't sell below that. You can also at the order level pull down and see the margins. So for your folks that are doing a lot of dickering with customers, they can pull down and see the margin on each item based on what the actual cost of that item was, so that you can make sure you're not cutting too close to the bone. Can make any product tax exempt. It won't be charged tax. You can input a map, which is just there for reference purposes. We don't do anything with it. But it's useful if you're using map with carts where you have to add items to the cart in order to see the price, so you need to know what the map is. We store the weight in decimals. There's a little calculator to help you get used to converting pounds and ounces, super easy. And we'll push over the weight to your shipping software. If you know your weight, great. We can just print labels right from Channergy. If you don't know your weight, there's multiple ways to handle that. One way is to take the order all the way up to the point where it's packed, and then go to your shipping software, key or scan in the Channergy order number, and it'll be pre-populated with the shipping method, the estimated weight, etc. Weigh it, print it out, the label, and you're done. It'll push back to us again, the tracking number, etc. Another way is in Channergy. When we go into fulfillment, we'll show you how this works. You can weigh packages, print labels right there. They could be separate labels or peel-off labels on an invoice or a packing list, so you don't have to go out to any shipping software at all. And then finally, we can help you learn weights. So especially for single items that go in their own box, we know what the weights are because we've been shipping them, so we can update this for you. And the goal is to automate as much as possible so you don't have to weigh boxes unless you have to. If you have any extra charges that you want to push to your shipping software, maybe it's a heavy or a large item, we can do that. We can track the cost of shipping that item, which is useful for reporting and that sort of thing. Remember, we're getting the total cost at the order level for comparing to your shipping, but this is product level for that purpose. We can calculate and add insurance when you key an order. We can push over hazmat codes. If you have any items like that, we'll push that to your shipping software. We can indicate an item ships in its own box. And if it does, the shipping software will know to pack it separately. We can also put in dimensional weight here. And if we have your factors, we can calculate dimensional weight for you. So if you remember order entry when we're picking the best ship method, that's one of the things we'll consider and tell you which method to use or automatically change the method to that. Stock levels is where you keep track of quantities. If an item, you can mark it as non-inventory. If it's an item you don't worry about, maybe it's something you have thousands of, or maybe it's not a real item like a discount or a message. Marking it non-inventory just means you have an endless supply. You can discontinue an item. If you do that, you usually want to say do not allow back orders, so when this gets down to 0, you won't keep trying to sell it. However, we do substitutions as well. So if this is out of stock or gone forever, you can substitute it with something else in your inventory. If that's not available, something else, up to 3. You can either prompt the operator or not when they're keying an order. It's useful to prompt them if it's a similar item and they need to recommend it to the customer, and to not prompt them if it's just an internal order, a product number change they don't need to know about. In addition to being useful during order entry, this is also useful for products that folks order on the web, on your various channels. If an order comes in and an item's out of stock, and it showed on the web it was available, but it turns out to be out of stock, we can automatically generate an email to the customer that says, hey, you ordered this particular product, it's out of stock, we'll have it back in stock on this date. Or you can have this one now. Which would you prefer? So it's a proactive way to let customers know immediately what their options are so they're not upset that something's back ordered. Okay, let's take those off, and then we'll talk about quantities. You can have a quantity in stock, like 5, or you can use our multiple locations feature, which most folks do. And for that, within locations, you can have as many different locations as you like. Physical locations like warehouses and bin numbers. You set these up again in the setup button. So maybe warehouse 3 bin 10 has 15 in stock. And you want to put